Govardhan Maharaj ki jai. Jai Shri Shri Nitai Gauranga ki jai. Jai Shri Bhakti Vigna Vinashana Shri Nrsinga Deva ki jai. Bhakta Pravara Shri Prahlad Maharaj ki jai. Jai Nitilila Pravishtom Vishnupad Astatarasata Shri Srila A.C. Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Jai Nitilila Pravishtom Vishnupad Paramahansa Astatarasata Shri Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj ki jai. Jai Nitilila Pravishtom Vishnupad Paramahansa Astatarasata Shri Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Goswami Maharaj ki jai. Jai Nitilila Pravishtom Vishnupad Paramahansa Astatarasata Shri Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshava Goswami Maharaj ki jai. Jai Nitilila Pravishta Om Vishnupada Paramahansa Astatarasata Shri Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Jai Mahabhagavat Srila Gaura Das Goswami Maharaj ki jai. Shri Srila Sachidananda Bhakti Vinod Thakur ki jai. Vaishnava Sarvabhaum Srila Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj ki jai. Shri Shri Rupanuga Guru Varga ki jai. Jai Shri Gauriya Vedanta Charya Baladev Vijabhushan Prabhu ki jai. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur ki jai. Srila Narottam Srinivas Yamananda Prabhu Trai ki jai. Srila Krishna Das Kaviraj Goswami Vrindavan Das Thakur ki jai. Jai Shri Rupa Sanatan Bhagavath Shri Bhatta Das jai. Srila Sarup Damodar Roy Ramananda Parsada Vrinda ki jai. Srila Haridas Thakur ki jai. Prem Sikaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Radhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Shri Navadvip Dham Vrinda Shri Gopi Govardhan Dvadashavanatmaka Shri Braj Mandala Dham ki jai. Shri Shyama Kunda Radha Kunda Yamuna Ganga Tulsi Bhakti Devi ki jai. Shri Shri Radha Govinda Radha Gopinath Radha Madan Mohan Jiu ki jai. Shri Shri Radha Gokulananda Radha Shyama Sundar Radha Raman Radha Damodar Jiu ki jai. Shrimati Lalita Vishaka Adi Ashtasaki Vrinda ki jai. Shri Rupa Manjari Radhi Manjari Adi Manjari Vrinda ki jai. Shrimati Vrinda Devi ki Purnamasi Yogamaya Devi ki jai. Shri Gopi Mahadeva ki jai. Sarva Bhishta Pradata Giriraj Govardhan Maharaj ki jai. Granthara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Granthara Shri Chaitanya Charitamritam ki jai. Shri Jagannatha Baladev Subhadra Sudarshan Chakra Jiu ki jai. Shri Jagannath Snan Yatra Rath Yatra ki jai. Saladama ki jai. Bhakti Vigna Vinashana Shri Bhakta Pravara Shri Prahlad Maharaj ki jai. Charudam Charu Sampradaya Akara Sanyamat ki jai. Or ki Vaishnava Raj Sabha ki jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki Tribhuvana Param Sankirtana ki jai. Tribhuvan Mangala Hari Nama Prabhu Ki Jai, Mantra Ki Jai, Sachinandan Gaura Hari Ki Jai, Shri Nityananda Mahajana Ki Jai, Shri Pancha Tattva Ki Jai, Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai, Samagata Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai, Shri Shri Nitai Gaura Premanande Hari. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Jataha Padakamalam Don Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Advaitam Satam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Deva Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Namo Mahabhadanaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namni Gaura Chishe Namaha Guruve Gaura Chandraya Radhi Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadbhaktaya Namo Namah Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhaktavrinda Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhaktavrinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Jaya Shri Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhaktavrinda Jaya Shri Prabhu Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shiva ज्ञानतिमिरन्दस्य ज्ञानञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। Mukam karoti vachalam Pangam langayate girim Yat kripa tamaham bandi Shri Gurun dinataranam Vancha kalpatarubhyascha Kripa sindhubhya evacha Patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha Namo Nahabhadanaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namane Gaura Chise Nama Anarpita Charim Chirat Karuna Kalo Samarpaitum Unato Jvalarasam Svabhakti Shriyam Hari Purata Sundara Dyuti Kadam Basandi Pita Sada Hridaya Kandare Spuratuva Sachinandana Nityanandam Namastubhyam Premananda Pradayane Kalo Kalamashanashaya Janava Bataye Namaha Sankarshana Karanato Yashai Garbo Dashayi Chapayog Dashayi Sheshascha Yasyang Sakala Sanatyanandakya Rama Sharanam Mamastu Panchatattvatmakam Krishnam Bhakta Rupa Sarupa Bhaktavataram Bhaktakyam Namami Bhakta Shaktikam He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Jayatam Shruto Pangor Mama Mandamater Gati Matsarvasva Pradham Bojo Radha Madanamohano Divyat Vrindaranya Kalpadrumadha Srimad Ratnagar Singhashanasto Srimad Radha Shila Govinda Devo Preshtali Sevyamano Smarami Shriman Rasarasarambi Vamshivata Tatakstitaha Karshana Venu Sanair Gopir Gopinata Shriyestunaha Brindai Tulsi Debai Priyai Keshavasya Cha Krishna Bhakti Prade Devi Satyavachai Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivas Adi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. First of all, I'm offering my unlimited Dandavat pranams and my Shraddha Pushpanjali at the most worshipable divine lotus feet of my most beloved Gurudev, Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Vishnu Pada Paramahansa Ashtotar Sata Sri Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada. And then I'm offering my same unlimited Dandavat pranams and my Shraddha Pushpanjali at the lotus feet of my most worshipable beloved Siksha Gurudevs, Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Vishnu Pad Paramahansa Astatara Sata Sri Srimad Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Goswami Maharaj. And Nitya Lila Pravishto Vishnupad Paramahansa Asto Tarasata Sri Srila Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj. And my Dandavat pranams to all of my Sri Rupa Nuga Guru Varga. My Dandavat pranams to all the Vaishnavas and all the Vaishnavis. So, when the Bengali Vaishnavas came all the way from Bengal to Jagannath Puri on their annual journey with Shivananda Sen in charge, looking after everybody. So when they arrived, then there was, as the previous year, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went to greet all of them when they arrived. Actually, there's a nice chapter at some point we'll read about their first time coming to Puri, after Mahaprabhu returned from South India. And then the king of Puri was seen for the first time. This is part of the Ratha Yatra Katha. And the king of Puri, Maharaj Prataparudra, was on the rooftop of the palace, and Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya and also Gopinathacharya, they were both pointing out to the king, and the king was also asking, who is that effulgent personality? And he's watching as Mahaprabhu is greeting them, garlanding them, embracing them, putting sandalwood paste on their heads. So, and the king was quite astonished actually when they performed some kirtan. Seen or heard anything like it before. And he inquired, what kind of kirtan is this that they're chanting? And then Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, he said, this is Prem Nam Sankirtan. Prem Nam. He had not heard Prem Nam up to that point. So, in this case, when they came this year, then, Shivananda Sen told, when he arrived there, about what he had encountered from the parents, the men that were sent to try to track down Raghunath Das, who had already left on another pathway. So he evaded them. But nevertheless, they caught up with Shivananda Sen's party and they asked about him. He said, he has not come here. So, when all the devotees from Bengal, returned home the previous year, after staying in Jagannath Puri for 4 months, so then Raghunath Das's father heard about their arrival, and he sent a man to Shivananda Sen. And then that man inquired from Shivananda Sen, did you see anyone there in the renounced order at the residence of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? And then that person, then he continued to say, if you did see such a renunciate, well, that person is Raghunath Das, the son of Govardhan Majumdar. Did you meet him in Nilachal? Shivananda said, yes, sir. Raghunath Das is with Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He is a very famous man. Who does not know him? Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has placed him under the charge of Swarup Damodar. Raghunath Das has become just like the life, the very life of all the Lord's devotees. And Ratri Din Kore Teho Nam Sankirtan. He chants the Hare Krishna Mahamantra all day and all night. He never gives of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, not even for a moment. Parama Vairagya. He is in the supreme order of renounced life. Indeed, he does not care about eating or dressing. Somehow or other he eats and maintains his life. And after 10 dandas, a danda is 4 hours, 10 dandas means 4 hours. After 10 dandas of the night have passed and Raghunath Das has seen the performance of the Pushpanjali ceremony, then he stands at the Singhadwara gate to beg some alms to eat. He eats if someone gives him something to eat. And sometimes he fasts. Sometimes he chews fried grains. So after hearing this, the messenger returned to Govardhan Majumdar and informed him all about Raghunath Das. And upon hearing the description of Raghunath Das's behavior in the renounced order, his father and mother were very unhappy. Dukkita hoilo. They became very dukkita. And therefore, they decided to send Raghunath some men with goods for his comfort. Can't give up that and Baba Bhav, even with the highest renunciate in the whole disciplic succession. They still don't want to see that he's undergoing physical hardship. Right? But Raghunath Das Goswami is feeling ecstatic at every single moment. And this is the automatic result of his ecstatic praying and his chanting. But they are not seeing it that way. Nevertheless, they had sentiments, of course, for Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and they also understood how their son had been completely captured in his heart. They told that earlier when they were trying to keep him. But still, they maintained this mood. We'll send money. So they sent some men with goods for the comfort of Raghunath Das. And Raghunath Das's father immediately sent 400 gold coins, 2 servants, and 1 brahmana to Shivananda Singh. So at this point, they made no attempt to bring him back, of course. But to make sure that their dear beloved son will have comforts. So therefore they sent this money and they sent 2 servants and a brahmin. So then Shivananda Singh informed them, you cannot go to Jagannath Puri directly. When I go there, you may accompany me to those men. Now go home. When all of us go, then I shall take all of you with me. So describing this incident, the great poet, Sri Kavi Karnapura, has written extensively about the glorious activities of Raghunath Das in his Chaitanya Chandrodaya Nataka. You know who Kavi Karnapura is?
Is he the one that took Mahaprabhu by the toe as a child?
Sucked on his toe. Yes. He's the son of Shivananda Singh. And yes, he became the greatest poet because he sucked on the toe of Mahaprabhu as a baby. So that poet, he's written Ananda Vrindavan Champu. You read that ever?
Yes.
Amazing, amazing. But when you read the Sanskrit, even more amazing. Perfectly composed, beautiful poetry. One of the topmost poets. So he also wrote Sri Chaitanya Chandrodaya Nataka. And in that book he described the extensive, glorious activities of Raghunath Das. So he said, this is the verse that they're quoting from that book. Acharyo Yadunandana Sumadhura Shri Vasudeva Priyas Tachchishyo Raghunatha Ityadi Guna Pranadiko Madrisham Shri Chaitanya Kripati Reka Satata Snigdha Sarupanugo Vairagyaika Nidhir Nakasya Nilachale Tishtatam. Raghunath Das is a disciple of Yadunandan Acharya, who is very gentle and is extremely dear to Vasudeva Datta, a resident of Kanchanapalli. Because of Raghunath Das's transcendental qualities, he is almost more dear than life for all of us devotees of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. All the devotees loved him so much, he was as dear as their very life. And since he has been favored by the abundant mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he is always very pleasing, vividly providing a superior example for the renounced order. This very dear follower of Swarup Damodar Goswami is the ocean of renunciation. Who among the residents of Nilachala does not know him very well? And then one more verse from the same work. Yak sarva lokaika mano biruchya sobhagya bhu kachida krishta pachya yatrayam aropana tulya kalam tat prema shaki falavan atulya. Atulya means matchless, incomparable. Translation: because to all the devotees, Raghunath Das Goswami easily became like the fertile earth of good fortune, in which it was suitable for the seed of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to be sown. At the same time that the seed was sown, it grew into a matchless tree of the love of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and produced fruit. So in these verses, the great poet, Kavi Karnapur, he gives the same information that Shivananda Sen conveyed to the messenger from Raghunath Das's father. The next year, when Shivananda Sen was going to Jagannath Puri as usual, then the servants and the Brahmin, who was a cook, went with him. So a whole year elapsed. Not a whole year, because they would stay 4 months. So you can say 8 months elapsed. The servants and Brahmin brought 400 coins to Jagannath Puri, and there they met Raghunath Das. Raghunath Das did not accept the money and the men sent by his father. Therefore the Brahmin and one of the servants stayed there with the money. At that time, Raghunath Das began inviting Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to his house with great attention for 2 days every month. And the cost of these 2 occasions was 640 kaudis. Doesn't say what is the value of a kaudi. So, but therefore he would take that much from the servant and the Brahmin. So the only thing he accepted was enough to feed Mahaprabhu on those 2 occasions luxuriantly. Right? So Raghunath Das continued to invite Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in this way for 2 years. But at the end of the 2nd year, he stopped. And And when Raghunath Das neglected to invite Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu for 2 consecutive months, the Lord, the son of Sachi, questioned Swarup Damodar. The Lord asked, "Why has Raghunath Das stopped inviting me?" Swarup Damodar replied, "He must have reconsidered something in his mind. I invite Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu." Now, Swarup Damodar is saying what he probably thought of in his mind. I invite Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu by accepting goods from materialistic people. I know that the Lord's mind is not satisfied by this. Let us examine this for a moment. What's the meaning here? It will tell a little bit more, but let's try to delve into what would be the reason why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, his mind would not be satisfied. But because he's inviting Mahaprabhu and serving him twice a month.
He would rather have the gifts from a selfless, honest devotee, even very humble, rather than that of a materialist.
So, Raghunath Das is thinking, I'm inviting and facilitating that through accepting the goods from materialistic people. I know the Lord's mind is not satisfied by this. Then he said, Mor chitta dravya laite na hoy nirmal. My consciousness is impure because I accept all these goods from people who are interested only in pounds, shillings, and pence. So therefore, by this kind of invitation, I get only some material reputation. Raghunath is thinking. Want to say something?
No.
Yeah. Now in the purport, short purport, Bhaktisiddhanta Prabhupada, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur remarks that people who are under the bodily conception of life are called materialists. If we accept the offerings of such people and place them before the Lord and invite Vaishnavas to partake of the prasadam, that attempt will gain us only a material reputation, not the actual benefit of service to a pure Vaishnava. This is a surprising statement. What do you think?
Yeah.
Huh? You think this is a surprising statement? Why?
Instructed to engage everything in the service of the Lord.
Mm-hmm.
But still, there's the example that the Lord or even pure devotee, they would rather go into the home of a penniless disciple who would serve them with bhakti and with whatever they gained from the honest work they did, than a materialist who might come by the money in any which way and had other intentions rather than pure love.
Yes. Actually, Ramanujacharya was one example of that, where there was the very, very poor disciple, lady. She had nothing to feed.
Even cloth.
Yes, yes. But there was this very rich materialistic person who always wanted to enjoy with her, and she ended up going there, and even with her husband, right? And her husband even giving the permission. But then, in the end, Ramanujacharya did not come to this very rich disciple of his, but he came to her house. And she did everything for take to facilitate. In the end, she did not have to fall into that trap of that materialistic person because his heart changed.
He took the prasadam.
Yes. So, if we accept the offerings of such people, and we place them before the Lord, and we invite Vaishnavas to partake of the prasadam, that attempt will gain us only a material reputation, not the actual benefit of service to a pure Vaishnava. One should therefore try to serve the Supreme Personality of Godhead by fully surrendering at his lotus feet. If one engages for the service of the Lord, whatever money one has honestly earned, that is spiritual service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the spiritual master, and the Vaishnavas. So, this goes on. Raghunath Das continued to think, and Swarup Damodar is explaining this to Mahaprabhu, how Raghunath might be reconsidering. So he goes on and he says, at my request, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu accepts the invitations because he knows that a foolish person like me would be unhappy if he did not accept them. So there's a purport again. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur says that people who are advanced in learning but attached to material enjoyment, who are puffed up by material possessions, by birth in an elevated aristocratic family, or by education, such persons may offer shobato, devotional service to the deity, and also offer prasadam to Vaishnavas. Because of their ignorance, however, they cannot understand that since their minds are material, neither the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Krishna, nor the Vaishnavas accept their offerings. If one accepts money from such materialistic persons to offer food to the deity and Vaishnavas, a pure Vaishnava does not accept it. This causes unhappiness for the materialists because they are fully absorbed in the bodily conception of life. And therefore, they sometimes turn against the Vaishnavas. So, let's discuss this paragraph. A little bit surprising again, the statements that Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur is making. Is that a little bit surprising to us? Does it seem a little bit out of the realm of our immediate experience in this life?
It does, because it must be, it's so much in an Indian context, and dealing with people who are part of an ashram, but it's certainly in the preaching movement of Lord Chaitanya, what I've witnessed is that everything is engaged from everywhere and everyone. That's.
But then why? Then why is he telling like this? This is something we better try to understand.
Could it be that in establishing devotional communities, that those same standards that Prabhupada Bhaktisiddhanta says are current in India would hold, that even though in a kind of emergency method of pushing on a Sankirtan movement, establishing it all over the world, everything could be engaged, but at some point when communities develop, then these standards should be introduced for the benefit of everyone, including the potential donor.
What do you think, Katsuyati Prabhu? What do you think, Tulsi?
Maybe because they don't have the right by giving those things. I've seen Gurudev many times refuse money and things. So Vaishnavas do like reject certain things from certain people, even devotees I've seen. So it's like it depends on the person's mood, I think. Whether it's acceptable or not, whether they're giving it with love or with the desire to actually serve, or desire that's actually beneficial for devotion and bhakti, then it's not.
Okay. So I'm going to continue because there are some more relevant statements going to be made by Mahaprabhu. But remember this, what we're saying, and we'll go back. So we'll complete this, and then we'll get the whole picture. So now, considering all these points, Swarup Damodar concluded, he, Raghunath Das, has stopped inviting you. So hearing this, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu smiled, and he spoke as follows. Vishayir anna kaile, malan hoy man. Malan man hoyle nahe, Krishnera smaran. When one eats food offered by a materialistic man, one's mind becomes contaminated. And when the mind is contaminated, one is unable to think of Krishna properly. Krishnera smaran. Purport by Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur suggests that people who are materialistically inclined and sahajias, or so-called Vaishnavas, who take everything very casually, they are both Vishayis or materialists. Eating food offered by them causes contamination. And as a result of such contamination, even a serious devotee becomes like a materialistic man. There are 6 kinds of association: giving charity, accepting charity, accepting food, offering food, talking confidentially, and inquiring confidentially. One should very carefully avoid associating with both these known as Vaishnavas and the non-Vaishnavas or the Avaishnavas. Their association changes the transcendental devotional service of Lord Krishna to sense gratification. And when sense gratification enters the mind of a devotee, he is contaminated. The materialistic person who aspires after sense gratification cannot properly think of Krishna. Then Mahaprabhu continued. Vishayir annahoy rajasa ni mantrana data duhara malin hoy man. Malin means contaminated. The mind, malin hoy man, means mind becomes contaminated. When one accepts an invitation from a person contaminated by the material mode of passion, the person who offers the food and the person who accepts it are both mentally contaminated. Purport, Prabhupada citing now Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur says that there are 3 varieties of invitations. Those in the mode of goodness, those in passion, and those in ignorance. An invitation accepted from a pure devotee, it is in the mode of goodness. An invitation accepted from a person who is pious but materially attached is in the mode of passion. And an invitation accepted from a person who is materially very sinful is in the mode of ignorance. We close that window again. Yeah, a little crack. You can also open that door. You don't need to have that closed.
A little air. There's a lot of air in here. It's been open all day.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. See. Okay. Now. So then Mahaprabhu continued, Inhar sankoche ami etadi nila, bala hoilo janya apani chado dila. Because of Raghunath Das's eagerness, I accepted his for many days. It is very good that Raghunath Das, knowing this, has now automatically given up this practice. So after some days, Raghunath Das gave up standing near the Singhadwara gate and instead began by begging alms from the booth for free distribution of food. And when Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu heard this news from Govinda, that that's what Raghunath Das Goswami was now doing, then he inquired from Swarup Damodar, why does Raghunath no longer stand at the Singhadwara gate to beg alms? Swarup Kahe, Swarup Damodar replied, Raghunath Das felt unhappy standing at the Singhadwara. Therefore he is now going at midday to beg alms from the charity booth. Then Prabhu Kahe, Mahaprabhu, replied, hearing this news, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, he has done very well by no longer standing at the Singhadwara gate. Such begging of alms resembles the behavior of a prostitute. And then there's some kind of Sanskrit verse here. It doesn't say where it's from. Tata hi kim artam ayam agachati, ayam dasyati, anena dattam ayam apara, sametyayam dasyati, anenapi nadattam anyas sameshyati, sa dashyati iti adi. So, Mahaprabhu is telling, he's saying that this activity of standing at the Singhadwara gate to beg alms by Raghunath Das Goswami is like the activity of a prostitute. And then Mahaprabhu himself is saying how the prostitute is her mind. Here is a person coming near. Oh, he will give me something. Well, this person gave me something last night. Well, now another person is coming near. He may give me something. And that person who just passed did not give me anything, but another person will come and he will give me something. Thus, a person in the renounced order gives up his neutrality and depends on the charity of this person or that. Thinking in this way, he adopts the occupation of a prostitute. And Mahaprabhu continued, if one goes to the booth where free food is distributed, and he fills his belly with whatever he obtains, there is no chance of further unwanted talk. And one can very peacefully chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Just to let you know, this reminded me of, well, what Srila Gaura Govinda Maharaj did when he first followed the order of Prabhupada, right after he took sannyas in 1975. Then Prabhupada instructed him to go back to Orissa and in Bhubaneswar. And there had been a piece of land that was donated. And that piece of land was in a very jungly outskirts area of the city and was quite dangerous even. So many dacoits. So, so Gaura Govinda Maharaj, I heard a tape once when he was telling about how how he followed that order. But he went to Prabhupada before he left from Vrindavan and asked him, can you give me a couple of men? Prabhupada said, no, you go alone. He did that. And you know, in Bhubaneswar, they have a temple called the Ananta Vasudev Temple, which is a kind of smaller replica of the Puri temple. They in fact even allow the Western devotees to go in there. And they have the booths where the different cooks have made so many different preparations. It's in like there's a central square building that has a roof, like a pavilion. And then on the outskirts of that, they have all the, have you ever been there? Yeah, they have like similar what's supposed to be in the Puri temple, which we've never seen. But they have all the different cooks, and you can go to them, and you can look at what they have, and you can purchase. But apparently back then in 1975, they were also giving free distribution to the sadhus. So Srila Gaura Maharaj, he was going there and taking his meal once a day there. And so by and by, in fact there was one of his, actually his first disciple, Sachinandan.
Yes.
I think he's passed away now also. And he would bring Gaura Govinda Maharaj on his bicycle. Gaura Govinda Maharaj would sit on the back of the bicycle. Jai Shri Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Sudarshan Chakraji Guru Gauranga Shri Shri Radha Govinda Ki Jai.
How far would that be about?
I don't know exactly, but you know, a few miles. You know. So, and he went and preached and built this hut with his own hands that he lived in right up to the very end, actually, even though the whole construction and everything went on, but he still remained there. And eventually, by the time that temple was built, you know, after that, as Prabhupada had predicted, it would become a very central place of the city. Highway. So this is like, you know, this is instructions for those in the truly in the renounced order who truly are proceeding forward on the path of absolute, you know, dependency on the Lord and full dedication, full surrender to Guru, Mahaprabhu, Radha and Govinda, and they are performing that bhajan 24 hours a day. You know. Then there becomes a much higher standard for such persons, which was demonstrated by Raghunath Das Goswami for the he is the example in Mahaprabhu's own dealings with him. So Mahaprabhu proved, okay, very good. Now he's going there to the free food distribution, which was, of course, Jagannath Mahaprasadam. And he fills his belly with whatever he obtains. So there is no chance of further unwanted talk. And one can very peacefully chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So after saying this, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu again bestowed his mercy upon Raghunath Das. As a result of this, he's very pleased, and he bestowed his mercy on Raghunath Das by giving him a stone from Govardhan Hill and a garland of small conch shells, actually gunja berry and Govardhan Shila. Now, previously, when Shankar Anand had returned from Vrindavan, one of the Mahaprabhu's associates, he had brought the stone from Govardhan Hill and also the garland of conch shells. Shila Gunjamala. It says Shila Gunjamala, stone, yeah, and the Gunjamala. I don't know why they're translating this as garland of small conch shells. Because Gunjamala is a berry, somehow. Because so many were assisting in the editorial department and like this. Now, that person, Shankar Ananda Saraswati, he presented Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu with these two items, the garland of conch shells and the stone from Govardhan Hill. And upon receiving these two uncommon items, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was extremely happy. And while chanting, he would put the garland around his neck. The Lord would put the stone to his heart, or sometimes to his eyes. Sometimes he would smell it with his nose, sometimes place it on his head. Nitra jale se shila bijay nirantara. The stone from Govardhan was always moist with tears from his eyes. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would say, this stone is directly the body. For 3 years, he kept the stone and the garland. And then, greatly satisfied by the behavior of Raghunath Das, the Lord delivered both of them to him. The Lord instructed Raghunath Das, this stone is the transcendental form of Lord Krishna. Worship the stone with great eagerness. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur writes in his Anubhashya that in the opinion of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the Govardhan Shila, the stone from Govardhan Hill, was directly the form of Krishna, the son of Maharaj Nanda. The Lord used the stone for 3 years, and then in the heart of Raghunath Das, the Lord awakened devotional service to the stone. The Lord then gave the stone to Raghunath Das, accepting him as one of his most confidential servants. However, some envious people, they conclude that because Raghunath Das had not taken birth in the family of a Brahmana, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did not give him the right to worship the deity directly, but instead gave him a stone from Govardhan. Just see. Nonsense. Huh? This kind of thought is naraki, hellish. As stated in the Padma Purana, Arche Vishnu Shiladir Gurushu Narabatir Vaishnave Jati Buddhi Yasya Va Narakisa. If one thinks that the worshipable Shalagram Shila is a mere stone, or he thinks that the spiritual master is an ordinary human being, or that a pure Vaishnava preaching the bhakti cult all over the world is a member of a particular caste or material division of society, he is considered a naraki, a candidate for hellish life. So, when Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu instructed the stone taken from Govardhan is non-different from the body of Sri Krishna, the Supreme Personality, then he indirectly advised such foolish persons that one should not be envious of a Vaishnava who belongs to a different caste or sect. One should accept a Vaishnava as transcendental. In this way, one can be saved. Otherwise, one is surely awaiting a hellish life. So Mahaprabhu continued as he gave this Shila to Raghunath Das Goswami, and he told him, worship this stone in the mode of goodness like a perfect Brahmana. For by such worship, you will surely attain ecstatic love of Krishna without delay. Satvik Pujana, he says. You will attain ecstatic love of Krishna without delay. For such worship, one needs of water and a few flowers from a tulsi tree. This is worship in complete goodness. Shuddha Bhav. when it is performed in complete purity. Shuddha bhav means complete purity. Dui dike, dui patra, madhye komala manjari. E mata ashta manjari dibe shraddha kori. With faith and love, you should offer 8 soft tulsi flowers. It means manjaris, soft ones, not dried, hard ones. Each with 2 tulsi leaves, 1 on each side of each flower. After thus advising him how to worship, Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu personally offered Raghunath Das the Govardhan Shila with his transcendental hand. And as advised by the Lord, Raghunath Das worshipped the Shila in great transcendental jubilation. Then Swarup Damodar gave Raghunath Das 2 cloths, Dui Vastra, each about 6 inches long. And he gave a wooden platform and a jug in which to keep water. Thus Raghunath Das began worshipping the stone from Govardhan. And as he worshipped, he saw the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, the Son of God, directly in the stone. Thinking of how he had received the Govardhan Shila directly from the hands of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Raghunath Das was always overflooded with ecstatic love. The amount of transcendental bliss that Raghunath Das enjoyed simply by offering water and tulsi is impossible to achieve, even if one worships the deity with 16 kinds of paraphernalia. Shuddha bhav. After Raghunath Das had thus worshipped the Govardhan Shila for some time, then Swarup Damodar one day spoke to him. Ashta Kaudira Kaja Shandesh Korosamarpana Shraddha Kori Dile Se Amritera Sama. Offer the Govardhan stone 8 kaudis worth of the first-class sweetmeats, known as kaja and sandesh. You know kaja? That's what we always get when Jagannath Mahaprasadam is brought. It's considered to be, they're shaped like this, you know? And like, it's called the tongue of Jagannath. They sell it everywhere around the Jagannath temple. So, first class kaja and sandesh. I remember actually last time I was in Puri, some devotee obtained this Jagannath Mahaprasadam, which was far superior to the other types of kaja. Some Indian devotee or whatever, they were able to get it. And this was made with ghee, because most of the others made with oil and so forth. This one was made with ghee, directly offered to Jagannath. So I carried it around. Every Ekadasi, I break Ekadasi with that. Now, this is Swarup Damodar telling Raghunath Das, you offer to this Govardhan Shila, you offer 8 kaudis worth of the first-class sweetmeats known as kaja and sandesh. If you offer them with faith, Shraddha Kori, and with love, like nectar. Tavi ashta kaudir kaja arpan swarup agyai govinda taha kori samadham. Raghunath Das then began offering the costly sweetmeats known as kaja, which Govinda, following the order of Swarup Damodar, would supply. And when Raghunath Das received from Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu the stone and the garland of conch shells, then he could understand the Lord's intention. Thus, he thought as follows. Srila Diya Gosai Samarpila Govardhane, Gunjamala Diya Dila Radhika Charane. Now, he began, offering me this Govardhan Shila. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has offered me a place near Govardhan Hill. And by offering me the garland of conch shells, which is the Gunjamala, he has offered me shelter at the lotus feet of Srimati Radharani. Just see. This is this high level, prem seva. It is not the activity of ordinary neophyte, even madhyama. So anande raghunater bahya vismaran, kaya mani sevilena goranga charan. So Raghunath Das's transcendental bliss was boundless. Forgetting everything external, he served the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu with his body and mind. Ananta guna Raghunater ke koribe leka, Raghunater niyama jena pasha nera reka. Who could list the unlimited transcendental attributes of Raghunath Das? His strict regulative principles were exactly like lines on a stone. Prabhupada remarks here that the words Pasha Nera Reka are very significant. Raghunath Das Goswami followed the regulative principles so strictly and rigidly that they were compared to the lines on a stone, as such lines cannot be erased at any time. So the regulative principles observed by Sri Raghunath Das Goswami could not be changed under any circumstances. Sade Sata Prahara Jai Kirtana Smarani, Ahara Nidra Chari Danda Seho Nahi Konadini. Raghunath Das spent more than 22 hours out of every 24 chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra and remembering the lotus feet of the Lord. He ate and he slept for less than an hour and a half. And on some days, that also was impossible. I remember in this context, Srila Akinchana Krishnadas Babaji Maharaj, Prabhupada's god brother, very exalted Mahabhagavad Vaishnava. No one ever saw him sleeping or practically even eating. From time to time, he would come to Mayapur, when the Chandrodaya Mandir was built, and he would be there. Devotees would give him some place. But even if someone was staying in the same room, Srila and in his memory of Srila Kinchana Krishnadas Babaji, he'd be sitting up all night under his mosquito net on his bed, softly chanting. Vairagyera Katha tar adbhuta katan, ajanmana dila jivai rasera sparshan. Topics concerning his renunciation are wonderful. Adbhuta Katha. Throughout his life, he never allowed his tongue sense gratification. Ajanma means from his birth. Na dilo, he did not allow. Jivai rasera sparshan, the tongue for enjoyment. Rasera sparshan. He never touched anything to wear except a small torn cloth and a patchwork wrapper. Thus he very rigidly executed the order of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Purport. The principle of very rigidly carrying out the order of the spiritual master must be observed. The spiritual master gives different orders to different people. For example, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ordered Jiva Goswami, Rupa Goswami, and Sanatana Goswami to preach. And he ordered Raghunath Das Goswami to strictly follow the rules and regulations of the renounced order. All 6 Goswamis strictly followed the instructions of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. This is the principle for progress in devotional service. So after receiving an order from the spiritual master, one must strictly try to execute the order. That is the way of success. So, continuing on about the glories of Raghunath Das Goswami, he's telling, Prana Raksha Lagi Jeva Koren Bakshan. Whatever he ate, it was only to keep his body and soul together. Pran Raksha, maintain his life. And when he ate, he would reproach himself thus. Atmanam ched vijaniyat. He's reproaching himself. Param jnana dutashaya kim itchan kasyava hetor deham pushnati lampata. He would say, if one's heart has been cleansed by perfect knowledge, and one has understood Krishna, the Supreme Brahman, he then gains everything. This is a verse from Bhagavatam spoken by Narada Muni to Yudhishthira Maharaj regarding a householder's liberation from material bondage. If one's heart has been cleansed by perfect knowledge, and one has understood Krishna, the Supreme Brahman, he then gains everything. Why should a person act like a debauchee by trying to maintain his material body very carefully? So, in the purport, on the spiritual platform, one does not unnecessarily care for the body. Srila Narottam Das Thakur has said, Deha smriti nahi jar, samsara bandhana kahantar. That one who is spiritually situated does not think that he is the body, and therefore he can transcendentally execute severe penances in the renounced order of life. The best example of such renunciation is Raghunath Das Goswami. So, Lord Jagannath's prasadam is sold by shopkeepers, and that which is not sold, it decomposes after 2 or 3 days. So all the decomposed food is thrown before the cows from Tailanga at the Singhadwar gate. Because of its rotten odor, even the cows cannot eat it. Actually, like maybe back then, it was thrown near to the gate. But nowadays, there's from the gate when you start to circumambulate the temple, then just as you come around the corner there, that's a place where they have some kind of pipe through which all of that comes out onto the ground there, and that's where the cows go. Yeah. So now this is telling the final thing in this chapter, the final activities of Raghunath Das Goswami. So that decomposed rice, it becomes very rotten, and even the cows cannot eat it. So at night, Raghunath Das would collect that decomposed rice, he'd bring it home, and he'd wash it with ample water. And then he ate the hard inner portion of the rice with salt. So one day, Swarup Damodar, he saw the activities of Raghunath Das, and thus he smiled. And he asked for a small portion of that food, and he ate it. And then Swarup Damodar said, "You eat such nectar every day, but you never offer it to us. What is your character?" News of this from the mouth of Govinda, then he went there the next day, and he spoke as follows. Kaha vastu khao sabe, Mori na deha kene. Eta bali ek grasa korila bakshane. Oh, what nice things are you eating? Why you don't give anything to me? And saying this, he forcibly took a morsel and began to eat. And when Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was taking another morsel, Swarup Damodar caught him by the hand and he said, "It is not fit for you." And thus he forcibly took the food away. So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu then said, "Of course, every day I eat varieties of prasadam, but I have never tasted such nice prasadam as that which Raghunath is eating." Thus Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu performed many pastimes at Jagannath Puri. Seeing the severe penances performed by Raghunath Das in the renounced order, the Lord was greatly satisfied. And in his poem, known as the Gauranga Stava Kalpa Vriksha, Raghunath Das has described his personal deliverance. Maha sampadavadapi patitam udritya kripaya swarupeya sviye kujanam abhimam yasya mudita uro gunjaharam priyamapicha govardhana shilam dado me gaurango hridaya udayan mam madayati. Although I am a fallen soul, the lowest of men, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu delivered me from the blazing forest fire of great material opulence by his mercy. He handed me over in great pleasure to Swarup Damodar, his personal associate. The Lord also gave me the garland of on his chest and a stone from Govardhan Hill, although they were very dear to him. That same Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu awakens within my heart and makes me mad after him. So, thus, I have described the meeting of Raghunath Das with Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Anyone who hears about this incident attains the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And praying, Sri Rupas Raghunatha Padijar Ash, Chaitanya Charitamrita Kohe, Krishna Das. Praying at the lotus feet of Sri Rupa and Sri Raghunath, always desiring their mercy, I, Krishna Das, narrate Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, following in their footsteps. Gaur Premanande. So, comments on what we learned tonight, as we were discussing before, about the standards. So many different lessons are there in this narration of Raghunath Das Goswami's life. And we have to hear them because he is the highest example, his life. Prayojan Tattvacharya, as I told yesterday. So, just to reconcile what we have observed in the behavior of our Srila Prabhupada and other great acharyas. You can hear so many stories, so many, by Srila Bhaktivinoda Bharati Maharaj in his book, My Beloved Masters, especially about Bhakti Saranga Goswami Maharaj, who was such a big collector, you know, and very interesting to study, because sometimes he also wouldn't even accept a donation from some big, wealthy, puffed up person. One thing that we have to understand is that these great, super empowered personalities, like our Srila Prabhupada, came starting from scratch, begging Sumati Maharaj-ji, who was a devotee, a very wealthy, materialistic person, but a devotee, for passage to America. When he came to America, he had to live with a Mayavadi. But one thing is, Srila Prabhupada did not eat anything cooked by them. We can look. He cooked and he fed them in every single circumstance, right from the very first day that he arrived. He would walk from Butler, from the YMCA to the house, cook. Sally Agarwal enjoyed the cooking of Prabhupada. And then later on, when he went to New York, living with Dr. Mishra, then going to the first recorded black and white video of Srila Prabhupada is recorded there at the country ashram of Dr. Mishra. And Srila Prabhupada cooked there in the kitchen and was so absorbed that one lady who was remembering, you probably saw this video on YouTube, she's remembering, she was one of the disciples of Dr. Mishra, you know, and she was remembering how if they would try to talk with Prabhupada, well, he wouldn't even answer. Then when Prabhupada came and stayed also at the studio, he would also come and cook, and Dr. Mishra would also eat. And then later on, when he was stayed in a couple of different places over that first winter, and he stayed in that loft, also only cooking for himself and giving out prasad. And finally, 26 Second Avenue, then it all began. And Prabhupada inundated them with Mahaprasad. And he accepted whatever offerings they were giving. He accepted from the lowly beatniks and drug addicts and even the drunk person who came barging through the door one evening in that little, you know, storefront, and Prabhupada was sitting. This is right in the very beginning. There was barely anything there in the storefront. And he had a toilet paper roll in his hand. And he was just like completely staggering in, drunk. But Prabhupada, you know, they had seen him. And they were actually lying on the pavements in the morning time when Prabhupada would come out for his morning walk. And sometimes they would actually be blocking the door, but they would roll aside for Prabhupada. And this particular drunkard, he came in and kind of startled the group. You know, small room, like half the width of this room, a little bit longer. And they all like looked. And he just went staggering in, and he opened up the door of the bathroom there, put the paper, what's it called, toilet paper roll there, and staggered back out and walked out. What was Prabhupada's comment? Very famous comment by Prabhupada. He said, his devotional service has just begun. Very beginning of his devotional service, rendering service to the pure devotee. So Prabhupada did whatever he needed to do. He engaged all, but he always remained completely pure, untouched. But he accepted whatever would assist him. Even when he was alone, you can see in his diary, he's collected, any people would give any donations, he would accept, you know, because this was an emergency situation. And the whole principle of his movement also became to engage everyone. To engage everyone. And we see that Prabhupada also did that. But we should understand that there are different levels. And Prabhupada was introducing on a very elementary platform and had a very dire emergency situation to establish his society all over the world for the benefit of future jivas. So he took every possible risk, you know, to accomplish that. But he remained always untouched and completely pure, and never touched the cooking of any mundane materialistic person. Although, when he went to India, that rule was also somewhat altered, Prabhupada. And even when he was living in Vrindavan and he would go to printers for his Srimad Bhagavatams, he also accepted an offering of food from the printer, that man who is the owner of the printing. He would ask, Swamiji, have you had your meals? I was saying, no, you come, take with us. So Prabhupada lived in this way, you know. But those persons who were assisting him were becoming powerfully purified even, you know. And then Gurudev, you know, Gurudev, this is the last thing I'll tell. Gurudev told, a number of times I've heard him tell this story, that when Prabhupada returned the first time to India, in, when was it, 67? Yeah, 67. He was not well, returned to India. And Kirtanananda was with him, and I think another devotee met him. So, you know, Kirtanananda was cooking for Prabhupada sometimes. And, you know, Gurudev described that, I mean, this is the first time that the Bengali Vaishnavas in the line of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur are encountering these young persons from the Western countries who were eaters of cows and so forth. So for them, from their culture, from their viewpoint, this is like, no, you cannot partake. But what did Gurudev say? Gurudev, he said, but I took, because I considered they have been completely purified by Swamiji. You see, Gurudev told. So, anyway, what Mahaprabhu is telling is a fact. And it is a very, very high bar to come to that level. Gurudev also told, he said, all of you, one day, you will have to do the bhajan that Raghunath Das Goswami has done. One day, in any future lifetime, you will all have to do that bhajan, because this is the path. So, in this way, Srila Prabhupada has presented the Chaitanya Charitamrita for the guidance of all future generations for thousands of years into the future. We have that great treasure. And we have the great commentary to help us go even deeper into what Prabhupada has given from our Siksha Gurus, Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj, Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Maharaj, or so many of our Guru Varga. All is there now. Now we just have to follow, and although we are very imperfect, I say, very lacking and very imperfect, but I long for the mercy, because I know that they are so merciful that even though we are very wretched, I am, and very incapable of following to the standard that should be there, but I know that they are very merciful. And if we are sincerely trying, despite our very gaping shortcomings, they will help us. They will always help us. I have that faith, at least. So, just praying that they will not kick me away, as Narottam Das Thakur is even praying, as our great acharyas are praying. But we really have to realize that we are worth being kicked away, but somehow they keep us near. So offering unlimited dandavat pranams at the lotus feet Srila Raghunath Das Goswami, Sri Swarup Damodar Goswami, Sri Govinda, the servant of Mahaprabhu, Sri Sachinandan Gaurahari, and all of his eternal associates and our Guru Varga, and praying that they will be merciful to us. And one day allow us to taste this nectar of Krishna Prem. Gaur Premanandi. Vancha kalpatarubhascha kripa sindhubhyeva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo. Jai Shri Shri Gauranga Giridhari Radha Govinda Jiyo ki jai. Shri Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Sudarshan Chakra Jiyo ki jai. Shri Gaur Arti ki jai. Radha Krishna Jugalarti ki jai. We'll continue with the Roy Ramananda Samvad. Tonight, we'll
Thank you.